All right, once again, Kamala Harris was right when she warned us that Donald Trump's economic policies would destroy the economy. Take a look at this clip. During the debate, she said, quote, 16 Nobel economists are saying that Trump's plan would increase inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Trump and Republicans laughed it off. They said Kamala Harris was wrong. She was being hyperbolic. She was being exaggeratory. She was exactly right. His plans have increased inflation. For a guy who said he was running to lower costs for families, inflation is up 7 months into his tenure. We could be in a recession by the middle of this year, let alone by the end of next year. And in terms of what Kamala Harris was saying, that President Trump's plan to tax the middle class and invest in the rich, as opposed to taxing the rich to invest in the middle class, was going to destroy the economy. His big, beautiful budget bill, his tariffs, his economic policy has been a train wreck. So Kamala Harris, who I thought was so unfairly maligned as the candidate, she was right then, she was right now. Take a look. Kamala Harris is due her respect, and the nation owes her an apology.
What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession.
So you know how the Trump administration is holding all these press conferences and they're like, we're winning, we're bombing ships, we're threatening to go into another country, we're winning so much. Oh, look, this one brown-skinned person has a horrible track record, we're winning. And then MAGA supporters are like, oh my God, all this winning. They're not winning, and they're pissed. So here's what Fox News doesn't want you to know. So companies in the United States are taking a huge hit. Let's just focus on BlackRock, okay? The big American finance giant. They just lost $17 billion. Why did they lose $17 billion? Because a giant Dutch pension fund withdrew their investment in BlackRock. Why? Why did they do that? Because BlackRock de-emphasized climate and social justice initiatives to cater to Trump's agenda. And then this pissed off the Trump administration. Morgan Stanley, another financial giant, just undertook a huge study. They polled a shit ton of individual investors in U.S. companies, and 80% of them said that they want companies like BlackRock and any other companies they choose to invest in to have climate change initiatives. They believe climate change is real. They're upset at all these companies capitulating to this dumbass administration. They believe in climate change. 80% of them. So they're putting their own pressure on companies, withdrawing money, investing elsewhere in companies that have the balls to stand up to this administration. Trump, their administration is not happy. And then here's a big one. Trump is so pissed off, he even posted about it. A Norway wealth fund worth $2 trillion just sold their stake in Caterpillar, U.S. equipment manufacturer Caterpillar. Yep. Just sold all of their shares. Why? Because Israel purchases Caterpillar equipment to undertake the big G word. Yeah, Norway divested in a bunch of Israel banks and investments as well for the same reason. This pissed off MAGA so much that Lindsey Graham just went on a tirade. We're going to put even more tariffs on you, Norway, and we're going to revoke, all of your visas to come here and everything like that. They are piss. Meanwhile, other investors are having this conversation across the board. Fox News is not letting you know about this. They have seen a titanic shift of other countries investing in American markets, meaning they're not. They're pulling out. They're not investing in American companies. The U.S. exceptionalism has been single-handedly destroyed by this administration. And other, especially dictator countries are more than happy to step in and fill the gap, and they are. And these investors, US investors, are saying it's not going to return because European stocks, Hong Kong stocks, all these stocks are soaring and they love it. And now everybody's buying in to other countries' investments, and they're completely bypassing the United States. And the final message that investors are passing around to each other is we have no one who's going to help us. We have to save ourselves. That's a lot of winning.
Is great is Donald Trump is in great trouble. So when major companies like BlackRock they start complaining, it's bad. When BlackRock starts complaining, it's bad. And you saw before Trump became president, these Wall Street investors, about 100 of them, saying that Trump policies would cost America to a tune of 5 trillion US dollars. That's what they said. Now, as you can see, Norway has run away. Mhm. These Dutch investors, they have run away. Again, you saw a raid at a company in at a Hyundai company in Georgia. There was this raid whereby ICE agents conducted a raid in a company, and maybe they grabbed in some Korean engineers, and they now want to deport them. So you saw these all news. These all news are bad for our country. You can see even soybean farmers in Dakota, these farmers in Arkansas, they are complaining. Things are not going well with these tariffs. So Trump thought the tariffs would be effective like the last time he was the president. He didn't know that these countries went back to the drawing board and found ways to evade these tariffs or ways to fight back against US. So he thought it would be an easy task, and he is finding out the hard way.
I'm not sure how to explain this to you guys, but the filthy rich pay more taxes than you and I because they make more money than you and I. But the 400th wealthiest people in the United States only pay 8.2% of their income in taxes. I personally pay 25% of my income in taxes. Do you get the difference? I don't know how else to explain it. We pay a higher percentage of our income than they do. They pay less taxes than your 13-year-old does working down at the Sonic 2 hours a week. There's something wrong with that. And I don't know how to make it any clearer. They pay 8.2. I pay 25% of my income in taxes. Does this help?
American manufacturing has now shrunk for the sixth straight month, a troubling sign that Trump's tariffs are taking a heavier toll than many anticipated. Factories are slowing production as trade barriers choke supply chains and raise input costs. Economists warn that this prolonged downturn isn't just a blip, it points to deeper structural problems created by Trump's protectionist policies. Tariffs, billed as a way to protect American jobs, have instead driven up costs for manufacturers, forcing some to cut workers and others to delay investment. The ripple effect spreads beyond just factory floors, hitting freight, shipping, and consumer prices. Historically, manufacturing has served as a bellwether for broader economic health, and 6 straight months of decline suggest worse timing. Unless trade tensions ease, the restrictionist policies meant to strengthen American industry are the very ones holding it back.
Are we cooked? We're cooked, aren't we? The jobs report came out and it's really bad. The economy only gained 22,000 jobs in August when it was expected to gain at least 70,000, and it lost 13,000 jobs, which is the first negative month in the jobs report since December 2020. Guys, this is not good. Moody's has already said the United States has entered a recession. Alarm bells are going off. Trump's economy is tanking. Unemployment is up to 4.3% from 4.2%. Yeah, we're cooked. I mean, this really shouldn't surprise anyone. I mean, we're seeing the effects of this throughout every sector of the economy. People are having a very, very difficult time getting a job. That's just the reality we're in. Businesses are getting hammered by the tariffs, especially small businesses who relied on the de minimis exemption that Trump has gotten rid of. What was it, over 70%, 73% of voters in exit polling said they voted for Trump because he was the best for the economy? They thought that he would bring costs down. He hasn't done any of that. None of it. Wake up, everyone. Wake up. He doesn't care about you. He just cares about himself and his rich billionaire buddies and keeping the Epstein files hidden. That's it. That's all he cares about. Everyone better wake up and get wise to this. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know how you've been impacted. Like, share, follow, spread the word, subscribe, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
I'm going to show you that Donald Trump is driving the economy straight off a cliff with his stupid tariffs and everything else. What you see here is that the jobs report just came in, and it shows that in June, negative 13,000 jobs were added, meaning it is the first month since December 2020 where the job growth was actually negative. I mean, this is horrific. And we're heading towards what's known as stagflation, where you have prices go up, but income and employment go down. It is the worst of both situations because you can only manage one at a time with interest rates. So thanks, Donald Trump. It's only going to get worse and worse.
So friends, they say taxing billionaires is bad for the country. Taxing the billionaires is bad for the country. But what have the billionaires done to give back to the society? Because you can see, even in New York, one of the reasons they are fighting against Zohran Mamdani is because he is proposing to freeze rents. So when we give these tax breaks to billionaires, they don't give back to the society. Like the tax rates, they have been hiked. The rent has been hiked. House insurance has been hiked. So you wonder, how does these billionaires give back to the society? The medicine in this country is unaffordable, So you wonder how these billionaires are giving back to society if they are not giving their fair share in taxes. They do totally nothing to give back to the society. So we are giving the breaks. We are entering into trillions of debts and nothing in return. So what I can conclude is that Trump is very bad for this economy. All he cares about is the billionaires.
Let's talk about the jobs report that came out today. The August report was a disappointment. That's not according to me. That's according to Donald Trump's own economic advisors. This report showed just 22,000 jobs added to the economy in the month of August. That is far less than what economists expected. All of those red flags for this economy. But one thing I want to highlight for you is what's happening to certain sectors of the economy, certain pockets of workers in the United States. Black workers, Hispanic workers in particular, are seeing job losses. The black unemployment rate, for example, since August 2024 has gone from 6.1% to 7.5%. That is more than a full percentage point increase for black workers. Is this a canary in the coal mine? Well, some people think so. It's often said that black workers, perhaps black women in particular, are the last in, the first out, and sometimes a key indicator of an economic downturn to come. And some of it can be attributed perhaps to federal government job losses. The federal government shed about 100,000 jobs since the beginning of this year. You've seen all the talk of the Doge cuts, but that's not the entire picture. There's more going on in this economy. The other thing I want to highlight for you is what's going on in a couple of industries that Donald Trump has said he wants to bring back. Manufacturing. Manufacturing lost jobs in the month of August. We are talking about a loss of 12,000 jobs. We're not yet seeing any impact, it seems, of Trump's economy, or perhaps we are. The uncertainty that his tariffs have placed into the economy may be having an effect. There's a lot of debate about whether this is just a short-term trend or whether Trump's policies just need more time. But in the meantime, there are a lot of workers who are losing jobs, finding it hard to get new ones in this Donald Trump economy. We'll see you at 10.
A friend asked me last night, what would I be doing differently if Kamala had won? And I said, for starters, I wouldn't be resource hoarding. I wouldn't be terrified that next month my electric bill might suddenly be $700 for no fucking reason. I wouldn't be holding my breath waking up at 3:30 in the morning wondering if my daughter had any future in this country or if we were going to have to try to run away at some point. My energy would be on helping other people where it was before the election. I would be focused on making sure the rest of the world was safe. And now I have to put all of my energy towards trying to survive myself and keep my daughter safe. Trump getting elected took away the luxury for me of giving money to organizations. It was never much, but I was able to give a little, and now I literally cannot. Now I have to twist myself into a pretzel and bend over backwards, trying to save as much money as humanly possible as quickly as I possibly can because I'm not safe. People are losing their jobs. I mean, thousands and thousands of jobs. I believe I heard that Oracle just laid off, 90% of its sales workers? If Kamala had won, I would know that we were going to try to do the right thing by the world, that we were going to follow along with climate change recommendations. I would not worry that my brother, who is in New York, might get hammered by a hurricane today because no one fucking knows what's really going on with the weather. Many of the wars that have drastically escalated also would not have. They simply would not have. And I just wouldn't be waking up feeling like maybe it's too late. And maybe what we're fighting for isn't even possible anymore. I genuinely hope that I am wrong. But I am worried that the climate has already passed a tipping point and that we can't get it back. And I worry about the same thing with our country. I don't know if the United States is salvageable.
Do you know that the Congress is more powerful than the president? Because as Trump is doing all these shenanigans, the Congress is the one which is allowing the Congress is allowing him to do so. Because you are member of the House was the one who passed him the big beautiful bill. A member of the House is the one who is protecting him from the releasing the Epstein client list. So our House members, they are complicit in what is going on in this country. They are involved. I don't know why. Now, you saw they were skipping these town halls to avoid explaining to their voters what is going on in this country. Because one understands what's going on except Donald Trump. You see, the unemployment rate in this country is skyrocketing. Is skyrocketing. Trump is bad for this economy. Yes, Trump is bad for our economy. Everywhere, everywhere. Trump is very bad for our economy. I didn't see this kind of mess when Biden was the president. I didn't see this kind of mess. Maybe in his first term, he might be effective because the countries are not prepared for his tariffs. But now, these countries are massively prepared for his tariffs. Countries are fighting back in one way or the other. Maybe some countries are choosing to cooperate, but they are finding ways which they can hit back. Like you saw, Norway is transferring their funds to Israeli banks, which is bad for our economy, which is